Hey, SpeakEasy Podcast listeners. It's your host, Altovise, your voice manager. I unmute the voice of women who are ready to speak up about what has kept her silent for way too long. This episode is going to be a really heartfelt one. It is not just that, because I love seeing mother-daughter duos and being able to see them to not only come together and support each other, but man, just think about, listen, come on, Wonder Woman, listen, what is it that we can do when we connect with each other and we support each other? There are so many ways that we can go ahead and take things to a whole new level. So I'm excited because of my guest today. And I have Alisha and Rochelle. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
How are you?
So happy to be here with you.
This is going to be an amazing episode. So tell the studio audience a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to go ahead and dive into today's topic.
Okay. I am Coach Rochelle. I've been coaching way over 20 years in relationships. And I've had the honor of being on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And so all of my training is with the Ford Institute, which was of Debbie Ford, the late Debbie Ford. And it's all shadow work. And it's everything you hide and deny and you certainly don't want to be. But there's a good news. And the good news is if you open yourself up to see what it is that stops you, guess what? You shift that story. Do you know you use the story instead of the story using you? So I am now in a new chapter of my life. No one can see me, but I'm 75. And lots of wisdom, a lot of work, changed my whole life. And my daughter, she'll introduce herself in a second. We are now in a new chapter of life, and we are now called Mother-Daughter Dynamic Duo. And we have a workshop for 7 weeks that's in the process right now. We're doing another one June 17th on Zoom at 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And so without any further ado, I want you to know who this beautiful lady is next, even though you can't see her. But she has a heart of gold, and I love her. So introduce yourself.
Thanks, Mom. So I'm Alisha Schwartz, and thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
She is amazing. And my journey has been amazing. I mean, I grew up with a learning disability as a kid. So that was my story, growing up with the shame and the pain. And I literally got into this work back in 98 and started working and becoming a coach with Debbie Ford again. And started to transform that story into that stupid little girl that I thought I was, right? Into this dynamic, beautiful woman that can speak up and say how she feels and speak to all of you and really help all the other, people like me or women in the world that have had similar issues or family stuff and came together with my mom so that we can start to really transform together. We've done the work together and continue to do the work together. Doesn't end. And we're really here to expand and to enlighten those relationships with all women. So we are here to do that.
So there are so many reasons why SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, this is going to be a dynamic conversation, because I know the relationship that I had with my mother and watching her, do different things. And she would do taxes because she was really great with accounting. She would sew. And I look at myself and who my mother was, and I go, there was nothing we could work together on. I tried to sew as a child, and I apologize, Barbie, for anything that I tried to put you in, but it did not turn out well. So talk about how this duo came to be a duo.
Well, it's interesting. It's a very interesting question. I think I had growing up with my children, because I was growing up with them. I got them when my other daughter I was 23. And then I had Alisha at 29 or 30 or 28.
Right.
Who's counting? And nobody's born with a set of rules. So I believe everything that I never got from my parents, which was a lot of things I never got, I then took that, and primarily it was all about being loved. And I never had that. I never had the connection. I never had the love. So what I did when they were born is like, I loved them. I probably was too much, if that's a possibility.
Mother love.
I was smothering at times. But I love so unconditionally.
That is true.
And I never judged them, ever, because I was always judged. So you take a story that you had growing up and you use it where if you ask both of my daughters, and people have asked them, what's one thing you love about your mother? And it was that unconditional love.
Yes.
And so I was a very... I don't know. I just loved their friends. My home was open to everybody, where in my home that wasn't available. So does that answer your question? I'm not sure I'm on the mark.
Ooh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I think
okay.
A lot of people, there's this negative stereotype when it comes to working with family, that you can't work with family. You have to be leery of family because they're going to try to, walk around with ideas.
Yeah. It's so true.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I think the foundation that my mom laid for me, because of her past, right? She used it so that she would create a new future with me and my sister. So, with that, I was able to feel safe enough, right, to be able to be free to be me and not feel like I have to be someone else. You know what I mean? I just can be me. And that's a gift in itself. I mean, she definitely transformed her past so that I can have a new future.
And what a past.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's in my memoirs, by the way. I don't know when it's coming out, but it is in my memoirs. I finished it.
And I think that's what creates the mother-daughter dynamic duo, and it helps really you in the connection between us, and knowing that we don't ever think about that. We never think like, oh, we can't work together. You know what I mean? It doesn't even come into the consciousnness because of the foundation that was already laid there for us, meaning me. So I never really had that. Like, I can't trust. I trust her more than anyone else in the world. Do you know what I mean? So,
and you know what? Yeah. It's also that my children feel safe to share with me because of no judgments. They could tell me anything. I'm talking about anything. And I'll always be there to love them. Always, 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 and support them.
Yeah.
And then get them help if they need it.
But you know what? That speaks to something really, really powerful, because in any relationship that we build, especially in business, there's always going to be some work, and there's going to be some foundational pieces that have to be in place. And so those are some significant things to really look at, because without the foundation, it's a house of cards. It's going to come crashing down. It is. Right. It's ultimately, that's what we're building it for it to fall over, right?
That's
and
right.
Then if we're not doing the work, then we're saying that we don't really value the relationship.
And then where else does that trickle into, right? If you don't value the relationship, how can you possibly manifest the abundance, right? How can you possibly manifest what you want in your life, right?
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
Totally,
it's a big thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it hits every area of our life.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So another thing that we talked about before we started recording was a statement that you said, and this hit me in my heart. It gave me all the feels, is that music is my refuge. And I know that that is a part of the program that you do, is that you use music very heavily. So speak to that. Why use the music, and how do you use the music?
Well, I think what we do is with each session, we bring a meditation, of course, to get people inside and to get them connected to their heart so that all the defenses kind of melt away, so that you can hear that whisper of the heart, not the head, the heart. There's a big distinction of the two.
Yeah.
And so we keep invoking that music to invoke that vibration, so that they open so softly and easily to the heart. And it's like all the defenses melt away, all the resistance melts away, so that they can hear the whisper of God or spirit, whatever you want to call it, to move them in the direction of their heart rather than their head. So that's what the music is for.
Oh, I love that. Now I have a question for both mom and daughter.
Sure.
From what you have learned now so far in life, what is one thing that you would say to 10-year-old you?
That I know now.
Mm-hmm. That you would say to your 10-year-old.
To my 10-year-old. Don't listen to what other people negatively have to say about whatever it is you're doing. Trust yourself, because even as little girls, we intuitively know what feels right, and we don't have to believe what somebody else is saying to us. You know, it's that the belief. And so I think that has a lot that I would say to that little girl that I know, and just to love her just for who she is.
And I would say to my 10-year-old Alisha that you're enough, that you don't need any outside validation to know who you are, that you are enough. That's what I would say.
I love that. SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, I want to ask y'all that question as well. What would you say to your 10-year-old self with the information that you have now? Some of you may think that you haven't done enough work, that you haven't put in enough time, but I want to have you really look at the fact that there are some lessons you have learned, and you may not be at the peak of where you want to be. You may not be in the exact position you want to be in, but there are some things that you've overcome that brought you where you are right now. That's one of the reasons why I love what Alisha and Rochelle are doing, because they're putting you in the position to be able to get to your highest level, the position to where you can be at the mountaintop. And then we have to understand that sometimes going to that mountaintop, it's a little harder to breathe up there.
Oxygen. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a little harder to breathe up there.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to add one more thing that I just thought of, and that was a very deep core belief that most people do carry. And so the other thing I would say to my little girl is that you're good enough.
Ooh, yes. And we have to think there's this competition when we go to school, there's competition in our families. We're always being compared to someone else. And so, woo, I love that. Own your individuality, guys.
Yeah, that's so true.
Listen, in life and in business, in your relationship, own your individuality.
That's it. If you got that, you've got everything.
Yeah.
Everything comes to you from that place of authenticity.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been an amazing discussion. I'm loving it. SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, you know that this is always about you. And so if you're in that space and that place where you're saying, you know what, I feel like I'm missing a piece. I feel like there's a little higher that I can go. I feel like, I know that I want to reach the top of the mountain, but right now I'm still feeling like I'm in the valley. Then I want you to reach out to Rochelle and Alisha. So ladies, let them know how they can connect with you online, and where they can find out more information as well as, for being in your program.
So they can contact me at Coach Rochelle at Comcast.net. They can go to my website, RochelleSchwartz.com. And we're also on Mother-Daughter Dynamic Duo at Gmail.
That's the email. So it's Mother-Daughter Dynamic Duo at gmail.com. Okay. And then if they go to Coach Rochelle, they will see the Mother-Daughter Dynamic Duo page, and they can like that. And any event we do is there. Yeah. So they can also see the events that we're doing. And also YouTube. They can connect to our YouTube channel, which is Mother-Daughter Dynamic Duo. They can reach me at shadowbstr3@yahoo.com. We also do consulting.
Yes.
So, Mom, you can give them your number.
Okay. It's 954-464-7017.
And my phone number is 619-723-1759. And that's where they can reach us.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing from you.
I love it. It's all about resources, guys. We want to make sure that you are getting what you need, because guess what? I know that we try to say that, this whole idea of balance and trying to, kind of balance life and work and all of those things. But guys, this is your opportunity. This is your moment. Say yes to you. No matter what else may be going on, reach out, connect, because you never know where it's going to lead you. I appreciate each and every one of you that download, that give me comments and feedback, because again, without the SpeakEasy Podcast listeners, there would be no SpeakEasy Podcast. So guys, check it out, share it out, and until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.